Hey there, comic friends. I'm Travis, and it's time for another edition of Monster Comics Reviews. This is for comics for the week of February 12th, I believe, 2014. Let's talk some superhero books. Astro City, issue number 9. Looks like we're closing in potentially on the end of this story arc with Wing Victory. I'm enjoying this title. I'm enjoying this story, but for some reason I'm not like really excited by it. I mean, it's a good story, but I don't like, oh my gosh, you know, when's the next whatever going to be? You know, when's the next issue coming out? I think part of that is that in my head I've already set that I'm going to look at it in trades after this. I think I'll just enjoy it more that way. So yeah, so I'm not excited by the singles right now, I guess. Maybe that's what it is. Not 100% sure. But good story. You know, I think they've exposed the person who's you know, basically ruining Wing Victory's name. She's an interesting character. Kind of how her powers work are really interesting. You know, she gains power from the embodiment and belief in her from feminine society, it seems. And of course you start tarnishing her name, and that potentially weakens her and stuff. So interesting. And I like the storytelling as far as, like, you know, her taking care of herself because that's the type of person she is, versus the Samaritan, the Superman type archetype character who she's in a relationship with in some sense. You know, helping her. You know, he wants to help, but at the same time, you know, he wants to stay out of the way because she doesn't, you know, she doesn't need it, or she needs to do it herself, or that sort of thing. So that's interesting. I am enjoying it from that aspect. A decent comic, Astro City. Batgirl issue 28. We get introduced to a new villain, Silver. He is pretty cool. He's obviously suffering from a massive psychosis that Batman and the whole Bat family are a secret society of vampires that are controlling Gotham and have Gotham under their thumb. And Gotham just doesn't realize it, and he is going to save them. So, so he's looking for targets. He's looking for soft targets and hard targets, and in this case it's Batgirl, who he seems to be after. He seems to have potentially figured out that you know, Barbara is maybe Batgirl and is definitely a vampire. So it's going to be really, really interesting. The guy is crazy, you know, like most Gotham villains are. He's driven. He has a purpose. He believes in what he's doing. He thinks he's doing good, and he thinks he's doing right. All that's really interesting. And of course, at the end of this, we're left with a cliffhanger of, okay, how are we going to solve this without having a small child blown to bits? It's really good. I mean, he's a cool villain, a new villain. Gale has created another new villain that just seems really interesting. You already feel kind of like he's enriched. You know, that he has purpose, he has sense, and isn't just a mindless crazy. He has objectives, and that makes him extra cool. So good stuff there. Batman issue 28, we get kind of an interruption to the 0 year yet again, to tell us a story of something that's going to be happening in the future. Basically to wet our whistles for Batman Eternal. I'm not sure we needed that. I'm not sure that, you know, we needed to have a glimpse at that here. I think most people who are going to be excited about it and on board with it, with the Eternal comic, are on board, you know, or once those first issues hit, they're going to be on board. We didn't need to have an advertisement in here, and that's really what this felt like. Great to see Justin Win doing interior pages on a Batman book besides Little Gotham. That's really cool. Excited to see that. Would love to see him back on a book, on one of these other books that I collect on a long-term basis. I think he's a strong artist that has a good sense of mood and movement for the Bat books. We get some glimpses at some characters and what they're going to be here in the near future. We get to see Harper Row, what she ends up being, which is interesting, but I'm not sure it makes sense. I really want to know in this timeline where this all matches at, because she just seemed way too effective. I mean, her gadgets, I get that. That all works. That makes sense with her. Her combat ability and her combat prowess seem very sharp. So I'm a bit critical of that. That aspect of it. I will love to look forward to finding out how Catwoman put herself in the position that she's in. She has quite a level of power, it seems. I'm digging that. Selene makes perfect sense for a character that if things start to really go haywire in Gotham and things need to be controlled, that she would take the reins and mature a little bit and become this other thing. So that's cool. I like that aspect of it. Of course, we get the initial glimpse of Stephanie Brown at the end of this issue. You know, she's back being spoiler. Part of me is excited by that because I love Stephanie Brown, but I love Stephanie Brown when she was Batgirl. So I don't know where this comic will take her at, what this character, where this comic and the Batman Trail comic is going to leave her at as far as personality and that sort of thing, because she was extremely charming when she was Batgirl. That was an extremely charming comic book. So I'm not sure. I'm not such a fanboy that I need her in any sense. I loved what she was. Let's see what they do with her now, kind of a thing. But yeah, it wasn't a bad comic. You know, like I said, it wets our whistle, I guess, to some degree as to what's coming. But I wish they wouldn't have interrupted the Batman regular title to do this. I really wanted to go with that. Oh, the other thing that's in here, of course, we get this other mystery person who's kind of being Alfred in the Batcave kind of a thing, which is curious that Alfred's not there. Instead, it was some other seemingly female figure trying to work the computers and work things out. So who is that going to be? That'll be another interesting question as to how that matches up and why that's happening and stuff. So, you know, I'm on board with the Batman Eternal stuff, but to tell you the truth, I was on board with it anyway. So, like I said, I didn't need this, but it was a good comic. Justice League 3000. This is issue number 3. I'm still really loving this book. I love the villain that's in this. Lotus, she's just bonkers. You know, she is so in love with Green Lantern, and that's just a big mess. And in amongst all, yet still more of the humorous dialogue of these, you know, the Trinity basically arguing with themselves, because now we're down to just the Trinity. You know, we also have this, you know, somewhat seriously storyline going along of, you know, universe conquests and trying to rectify that and fix what's going on. So that's all real interesting stuff. That's all pretty cool. So excited to continue to see where this goes. It's just been a really fun book. Happy to have picked it up. Books I really kind of wish I wasn't picking up. Justice League of America, issue 12. For me, this just continues to be stalling, waiting for the end to hit, so we can get to the end of Forever Evil, so we can close this book down and go on to the next Justice League book, Justice League United, which I'm somewhat excited about. I hope it just doesn't get bogged down like this thing has, because this story was, to me, continues to be relatively pointless. Yes, I like Stargirl. We know Martian Manhunter isn't dying in this book, even though it kind of shows that maybe he is. That isn't how it works out ultimately, because we've seen the solicitations and know he's going to be in other books. So more just stalling. It's stalling, waiting for it, I guess, to get to the end of Forever Evil so we can tie up all these books. And that's unfortunate, kind of a waste of my money and a waste of my time. Yeah, so what I thought could have been exciting ends up being kind of a big bummer. So, but I think I got one more issue and then we'll finally get to the real stuff going on. She-Hulk, issue number 1. Charles Soule writing it and Paludo doing the artwork on it. Really love this book. I love the storytelling. I love the characters. I love the way they addressed her. I love her attitude, the settings. There are times I'm not as excited by the art. I think that's the one thing we hear a lot of people talk about, unless you're really a fan of this guy's artwork. That's been part of the discussion. Nothing that I can't get around. I don't think it takes away from the comic in any way. I just potentially think there could have been other people that would have made it more appealing to my eye. Not that this is bad. It's just, it's not my favorite as far as the art goes. Story-wise, it was excellent. It had wonderful bits and pieces in it. It brings her across, brings Jen across as being this incredibly strong, smart, witty person, despite being She-Hulk. You know, that doesn't matter. We get to see some She-Hulk in here. I do like the illustrations of how she is when she's just, you know, being the, you know, the lawyer, Jen Welders, and then the times that she has to go, she has to Hulk up. If she does, her body mass changes and whatnot. So I'm cool with that. I like that part there. There's this great line in this thing where after she's beat up a bunch of robots to talk to Tony Stark about some patent infringement stuff that's in this issue, and she's walking away, and you can tell that Tony's like, you know, pretty impressed and turned on by just how magnificent and powerful she is as a, you know, as a person. And he basically says that, and she, you know, she makes some comment about, yeah, I am. You know, it's not going to get you anywhere, but you're right, I am. I am all that. And I just love that. I love the confidence that she exudes. Charles Soule, you know, nailing it right now. You know, at least this first issue. Makes me very excited for more issues. This is going to be a fun book, and happy to have jumped on it. Live Forever Evil, tie-in, Suicide Squad. Of course, the only thing that really ties in with this is, of course, the entire world's gone to hell in a handbasket, but we're dealing with just Belgrade and the bad stuff that's happening there. You know, somewhat interesting issue. I like these characters. You got this whole OMAC thing going on with Kevin trapped inside the OMAC body. The OMAC body's trying to kill Waller and kill everybody else in the process. You got these wheeling and dealing with Harley Quinn and James Gordon Jr. and the superheroes have shown up. You know, Power Girl and Unknown Soldier and all of them. Everybody's getting flattened by the OMAC. I'm really curious to see where it ends at. I know this book's only got a couple more issues and then it's done. I'm hoping we get to see Suicide Squad in some sense someplace else, or at least these characters, because just a little bit I've read here recently of the book, they're rich characters, and it'd be a shame if they just suddenly fall off the face of the earth and we don't really see them anymore again. I mean, I know the Waller's having a one-shot at some point, but then what happens to her after that, I have no idea. Would like to see her in something. I do actually enjoy her. I mean, she's not the old Wall. I like the old Waller, but this Waller's got the same, you know, mental facilities, I think, that the old Waller had, and so I do enjoy it for that. You know, I could continue to complain about the body type issues that go on there, but yeah, that's been discussed in other videos. So enjoy it. And finally this time, Marvel Knights X-Men. This is issue 4 of 5. Things are really going bonkers now. You've basically got a whole group, gang called the Kooks, who are basically freebasing mutants. At least they're, they had a mutant that exudes this, you know, sweat or whatever it is, and they're basically freebasing on that, and they're bonkers, and they're going to kill everybody except for the mutants, because they knew the mutants are the New World Order, and through their freebasing of this stuff, they're kind of mutants too, so they're hoping to be able to go along and be part of the new fold, part of the new power and whatnot. You know, we've got one of the mutants that we've seen in here who's got this crazy power just to make things appear, and they're really there, and they're physical, and it seems to work on anybody's suggestion now. So as our main cast of characters fight with each other more and more, they just keep dragging horrible things, horrible skeletons out of each other's closets to attack each other. You know, Wolverine because Wolverine and Rogue are really going at each other. You know, Wolverine drags out the original Ms. Marvel against Rogue because, of course, you know, if you know Rogue's history, she stole power and memories and stuff like that from Ms. Marvel by accident. So that's a whole big giant thing of, you know, and Rogue turns around and pulls all kinds of stuff out of Wolverine's past, potential wives and Silver Samurai and all this stuff, and it's just utter chaos, completely going all over the place. And Kitty is trying her best to square it away, to figure out what's going on, to see if she can get some sort of leveling out of something, so this can all get cinched up. You know, we're coming down to the last issue. This issue really solidified this miniseries, making it a ton of fun and really cool, and I'm excited to kind of see how it all ends, how it all, you know, works out there at the end of it. But yeah, pretty good week of books. Some great stuff in there. So that's it for this video, and I'll quit saying and I'll see you later on in the week. Have a great one, everybody.